Just wait a few seconds. Right, should I start with the introductions?
Alright, go ahead.
Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of Braincast. I am Skismatron and I will host this show together with my friend Daniel. How's it going?
I'm pretty nervous of the show. I hope everything will work okay. We had some issues right just before the start, but everything worked out fine. So I'm just hoping for a great show.
Alright, so I'm going to talk a bit about what the show's about. It's about top level play. We're going to talk about various tournaments. We're going to talk about teams. We'll focus also about the tournament format and the successfulness of the tournament scene, especially with the new announced $250,000 tournament BlizzCon. To help us analyze this properly, I've brought with me the winner of the event and Tempo Storm team member, Gaara. Welcome. What's up?
Well met.
How does it feel winning Dreamhack?
Feels pretty good.
All right.
Oh, by the
God,
way,
so true.
did you get the money yet?
No.
Oh,
okay.
me neither.
Oh wow.
Well,
Okay.
I haven't gotten any prize money from several tournaments yet, so I'm not expecting anything anytime soon.
Oh, that's a bit boring. Anyway, I've also brought Frodan, the awesome caster of the Dreamhack tournament, also known from Fight Night, and a lot of other things. Tell me, Frodan, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing good. Thanks for inviting me on the show.
Alright. Awesome. Let's see here. I'm just gonna ask you guys a question here. When did you start playing? We can start with Gaara.
Well, I started playing, I think it was after the Freeze Mage nerf. When was that? I think around November
Okay.
last year. And yeah, I'm playing Hearthstone since.
Frodan?
I start.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we go with Frodan.
Oh, are we on me? Okay. When did I start playing Hearthstone? I harassed my friend at Blizzard for a long time. Actually, okay. No. When Hearthstone was first told to me as a concept by Blizzard, like sometime like late 2012, like early 2013, I thought like, that sounds cool, but really not my thing. Like I did play Magic and stuff, but I was like, I don't know if I could really get into the digital card game because Magic the Gathering online was not fun for me. Like I tried playing it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it finally came out on trailer, and I remember my friend showing me the trailer. He's like, "Dude, this looks so cool." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." Like, I'm still skeptical. And then, all my friends have basically stopped playing Hearthstone, but I'm the one who actually continues to play. So,
Alright,
ever
awesome.
since the beginning of the beta, I've been playing it nonstop.
Daniel.
I got a key from the Dreamhack event in Bucharest, the one in September 2012, I guess. No, 2013. Yeah, just the one before this one. And I played it a lot in the beginning, but then I took a break after they resetted all the cards. So I guess I started playing in September, but I actually started in January.
Okay. Well, I started playing in October. I got a key from Blizzard. I was actually on a convention for Magic the Gathering. And I went to the bathroom, checked my mail on my phone, and screamed like a little girl. So yeah, I've been playing Hearthstone non-stop since then. It's just so fun. Alright. So guys, what decks did you enjoy in the beginning?
Well,
Oh,
I
man.
only played Arena because I didn't have the cards, and I liked playing the Broken Rogue, the one that had the where you could dagger after you dagger and have a 2 attack dagger. I like playing that.
Okay. Gaara.
I think the very first deck I climbed ladder with was Handlock, and I enjoyed to play that the most because it was like a control deck. I never liked to play any sort of aggro deck because I wanted to think about my moves and stuff.
Okay.
And after they buffed Hunter, I played aggro Hunter all the time.
Okay. Alright,
Yeah.
Frodan.
I actually have some, like, I used to save all the decks I played because before like people started copying each other's decks and like, you know, like Raynad created his website and everyone started copying him and
Yeah.
like Hearthstone players, Hearthhead and Liquid Hearth came to be. Everyone kind of shared PNG files with each other, so I'm trying to go back and see the earliest one I saved. And I think the earliest one I have saved is a very old school priest deck before like they nerfed any of the things, before they nerfed mind control and like all the buffs and stuff. And so I basically played like a pretty straight up control priest. But it was pretty terrible. I have mind games in this deck somehow.
Well, you could get a Ragnaros from it, so...
No, I actually used it to beat, there's a pretty well-known NA player from a few months ago named AP Drop. I think he kind of went back to Diablo 3.
Okay.
But he was a pretty well-known streamer, and I actually played him in a tournament, and I beat him with mind games because I mind gamed his Ysera. And from that point on, I just won. So. Pretty gross.
Okay. Well, I for one, I'm a sucker for the Murloc deck list. I
The
just love my
Murloc,
girl.
the Murloc deck list?
Yeah. It's
Oh
it's
my
my
God.
muse. I love the deck. I can't.
Have
I just
Have you
can't.
actually had any success with it?
Yeah. I have a few second place finishes in tournaments and a lot of top 8s with it. It's actually done wonders for me, but it's just not viable when it comes to actual serious play in general.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so, well, obviously, we weren't all tournament players on day one. What made you go tournament? What made you go competitive?
I'll start with that because mine is like the easiest one. There was like a tournament in Bucharest and I signed in and apparently I got second place. So that's it. I haven't played any tournament before that. Like, it might sound cocky or anything, but because I didn't even know there were online tournaments before that. I only watched Fight Night, and I thought, well, those guys have a team or anything, so I'm not gonna be a part of that. So I'll just play ladder. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I kind of went into the Hearthstone scene knowing that I would play tournaments one day because I was okay in Magic the Gathering. I have a championship victory. I have the cup right here, but that's it. And I felt like, well, Hearthstone is a new start. I can become good at this game, basically. So, let's leave the stick to Frodan this time.
When did I first start competing? I tried competing for a while. Actually, when Liquid Value was first getting together, I used to play with them, and then they kicked me out. But that was because at the time I didn't really know if I was going to be able to take Hearthstone seriously because I was just starting at ESGN and like I wanted to make a good impression by not playing Hearthstone 24/7 at work. So I kind of only played like an hour or two a day, but I still really liked the game, and that's why Fight Night came to be. But you know, I didn't really take it seriously until maybe November, December, and then I started playing a lot more. I started entering some tournaments for fun, and I won a couple of online cups, but you know, I haven't really done much since then competitively because I've been trying to learn more about the commentary aspect of it.
Well, yeah, that's a professional aspect as well, to commentate and be a caster.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
what about you, Gaara?
Well,
I know
Like
you
when
were
it's
a former WoW player, so you have that competitive nature in you. But did you actually wanted to be good at Hearthstone right when you started, or did that came along?
like in every game I start to play, like I have the goal to compete competitively. Like in most games I played, I like when I start to play a game, I want to become the best in the world. Like that's my goal, and I mean I try to reach it. It's not like I expect to be it in the end, but and if I play Hearthstone, like one goal is to be first legendary player, and then rank 1 legendary, and then win tournaments. So it just came naturally. It's not like I had the goal to win Dreamhack or something. I just wanted to be good at Hearthstone. Yeah.
That just kind of happened for God.
It just kind of came
I guess
natural.
I'll beat everybody with my Druid deck. Oh, I lost with Druid in the finals? No worries, I'll just play Hunter.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, so let's move on. How did you find tournaments compared to ladder? Especially in the beginning, like, what's the difference?
I can start because I think many people I think pro players make a big mistake because, like for example, Colento, they think that decks that are really good on ladder will automatically do good in tournaments, and that is not the case in my opinion. Because in tournaments it's way more control heavy than in ladder. Like ladder is random, you face all kinds of decks, and you will face many rush decks as well, which is not the case in tournaments. And on top of that, in tournaments you can predict like the first matchup, what you will be up against. Like the chance that you will play against a control deck, for example, in the first round is above 80%, and that is not the case in ladder. So different type of decks will be good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I agree with Gaara. I was so happy at Dreamhack that I could actually play my shaman and actually choose when to do that. Because on ladder there were like 50% hunters, and I hated that. Yeah. I was like winning every game except the ones where I faced hunter, and that's like the biggest difference. You can actually make decks specifically to counter other decks and use them in tournaments.
Alright, Frodan, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Gaara. I think deck building in general is like a really underrated skill in Hearthstone. I think everyone kind of values too much of analytical board play and stuff like that. They look at, and not to try to downplay Raynad's achievement at Dreamhack, because that was a really cool play. Even thinking about it was still really nice. But people kind of, that's like the sexy part of Hearthstone, but the less cool thing that's really undervalued is deck building. That's something that Gaara is really good at. And as a result, like everyone started playing Ramp Druid a lot more, especially with cards like Nourish and some of the double faceless shenanigans that Gaara was pulling off, and then all of a sudden becomes like the normal trend. So I really value deck building as a mark of a good player, more than also like I also value good play as well, like solid decision making. But it's very clear that tournament decks are very separate from ladder decks.
Yeah. Well, I have nothing to say here. You covered my lines, so let's just move on to the question, which actually is very related here. How do you build a deck for a tournament? Like, what is your thought process? Daniel, we can start with you.
Well, for Dreamhack, I really wanted to play Shaman because it was my favorite class, and I knew Hunter would crush it, so my other two decks were just to beat Hunters in case I lost with the Shaman. So I thought I'd have a chance with Tempo Rogue, and also Tempo Rogue would beat Zoo, which I expected I'd face a lot in the early rounds, where more casual people would play. And I also went with Zoo because it's good all around. Like, it was like the panic button. That's why I used it first game in the finals.
Okay. Gaara?
Well, I find it extremely difficult to build a tournament deck to actually win a tournament. You have to be like one step ahead of everyone else, and you have to think like, how do I prepare for a tournament? Like, how do I see the tournament meta? You can't test your decks on ladder because it's not the same. So you can actually only practice in tournaments. So you have to participate in many tournaments to actually see what kind of deck is good in a tournament.
Yeah.
And that is really time consuming, and that's why before a big event I'm not really sleeping a lot. You like have to practice with other good players in skirmishes, for example, to build a good deck. It's way harder to build a good tournament deck than a little deck.
It's actually hard if you practice with other people. I actually encountered this problem yesterday when I had my first team practice, because the other people know exactly, like your teammates know exactly what cards you have in your deck and play around them, but in tournament you might surprise your opponent with some cards. So I find it really hard to just build a deck for a tournament, because it's hard for me to help a teammate design a deck if I know his cards, but I think every time what would I do if I didn't know exactly all his cards and play around it. So yeah,
this is what separates like really the top deck builders. I mean, you have to come up with something in theory, like that's like I prepared Tides for King of the Hill. He played against Reals, and you have to make a deck in theory. You don't really test it. Like, will this work out? You don't know. It's like just in theory, complete 100%. So, and when it works out, then you're really happy because you can't really practice.
Frodan, what's your opinion?
I mean, these guys are the tournament players.
Yeah.
Like, I've never actually competed on a scale like Dreamhack before. I mean, online tournaments, I always, when I was on Liquid Valley, I was like, Striker, what's the best deck? And he'd give me like, the most OP road deck. And he's like, yeah, just use Coin and Defias Ringleader. I'm like, okay. And it was like a 4/5 for 2 mana. I was like, all right, this is awesome. And I won. Nowadays, I don't really know. I usually ask some players if they have good decks, but I haven't really competed much. I still enter a couple of open tournaments online, like the Reddit one I signed up for just for shits and giggles, but I'll let you know how that actually turns out.
Okay. Well, you should. We're planning to launch a tournament with Brainbenders later on. You should participate.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay, well, I for one, when I build a deck for a tournament, I usually have this cookie cutter deck that, I kind of expect everyone to be playing because it's solid. Because I don't want to build 3 decks, because that just is too time consuming for me. So I build one really innovative deck no one is going to anticipate. Unfortunately, I was participating in Daniel's team practice yesterday with Next Please. And, well, obviously I went against Daniel first, and he knows all my decks. I was playing Freeze Giants, I was playing Murlocs, and, well, he knew it. If I was against Radu, he would have no idea. And I would surprise him, but no. So I guess in an actual tournament, it would have been better, I guess.
Yeah, well, talking about decks, I think it's a good idea to analyze some. We have some prepared, and I guess it would be a nice idea to start with Tides, with one of Tides' deck, since Gaara is his teammate.
Okay.
Maybe we'll get some extra insight into what. So which one?
Well, let's bring up the rogue deck. I have it on stream. Let me send it to you guys. Or do you want to go tap into the stream?
I guess Skype's better.
Alright. There we go. So this is a Miracle Rogue deck. It's pretty standard, I guess. The one thing I noticed was there was only 1 sap. I usually play 2. I also play 2 Cold Bloods and 2 Conceals, but I don't play Earthen Ring Farseer anymore because of the Hunter. It kind of disappeared.
Oh man. I'm uploading 1 kilobyte per second.
No,
this is gonna take 8
I
more
made a
minutes.
print.
Okay.
Okay, you made a print screen. Awesome. Let's just okay. Let's not stress my internet too much here. Okay. So yeah, well, it's a Miracle Rogue deck, but it's some of the choices, I guess. that could be a bit unusual.
Yeah, it's like a deck that that gives you more things to do if you don't really have gadgets in. Like Loot Hoarder just thins out the deck, and it doesn't feel like you're playing you're holding empty spells, and that's what happens sometimes when you have like 2 Conceals, 2 Cold Bloods, 2 Saps. And I mean, every player who's played Miracle extensively knows that feeling where it's just like you're helpless because you actually just can't do anything except re-dagger up and pass the turn.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of what started the trend with Azure Drakes and Farseers, but I mean, that's what Tides is going for, a little bit more consistency in terms of finding, I guess, his gadgets in.
Gaara, what is your opinion?
Yeah, it's way more consistent, as Frodan said. Like, he cuts dead cards like the second Conceal, the second Blood, the second Zap, and it has way more minions, so you're not really relying on the Auctioneer Conceal combo to win your games. You can also win with a big cleave or whatever. Well, he also cuts 1 Fan of Knives because you don't really need it, but he plays 2 Blade Furies instead for board clear, just to adopt to the meta game, basically. It's like what all the good players do.
Alright. Daniel, what's your opinion?
I don't know about the second SEP. I think I've played around 250, maybe 300 Miracle Rogue games in the last week or so. So I'm like, every time I close my eyes, I see numbers go before my eyes. Like, if I use Eviscerate now, how much mana would I have? Stuff like that. It's really tiring, but I want to learn it really good. So I haven't tried with just 1 SEP. I think it's a good idea if you just save it in your hand for the decisive moment.
Yeah. Alright, you want to move on to the next deck?
Yeah, sure.
I sent you all the decks so you can send a screenshot to the other guys.
Can't you do that? Because I'm actually downloading the same as the other guys. I just had the other one.
Okay. I guess I can try. Let's see.
Yeah, please do.
I mean, you can also put it on stream, and I think I can look at it. It would just be a little bit delayed.
All the decks on stream. I can just. That's definitely gonna be easier. It's just gonna be
it's
a bit
fine.
delayed, so that's fine.
All right.
Also about the Miracle Rogue, do you guys think is the best deck right now? Gaara?
I don't think there's a best deck, like, ever. I think every deck has a counter deck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think a best deck ever exists.
But there's always a deck that has the best current win ratio in ladder.
Yeah, that's what I like. Do you think this is the most consistent deck right now?
No.
It's a really close. I think it's really close with Handlock and Shaman, in my opinion, but I'm favoring Miracle.
Okay.
I think more Handlocks are in top 10 right now on the ladder than the Rogues. Even Colento is not playing Miracle Rogue anymore. It's like Handlock is supposed to favorite against it.
Yesterday he played it, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, he plays always Rogue, like, but he tries to new stuff like Ram Druid or stuff like that. But also against the Watcher Druids, it's can lose. It's good, obviously, but I don't think it's the best thing.
Alright.
They're all pretty similar.
Shall we move on to the next deck, or?
Just one more thing. I don't know if you know the person that is on the first rank right now, or still is. I faced him in the Zoda Cup on Saturday. It's Kjex, and I asked him how did he reach rank 1, and he said he used a Druid. So I'm really liking that the meta is well-rounded.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
like
the
a
same
token
as
druid?
no, it was actually a Ram Druid. Really, with double Force of Nature, double 7/4. Well, no, Gaara doesn't use any of those cards.
Alright. Well,
like, at
okay.
least in Dreamhack.
Well, speaking about handlocks, here's a handlock deck. is gonna be up for you guys in a sec, or 2, or 3.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for it to update real quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's so funny, by the way, that Druid reached #1 playing double Force of Nature, double Savage War, because that's so like that summarizes ladder perfectly because
Yeah.
you just have that combo and it's always like, okay, it's a Ram Druid. Surely he doesn't have a second, like, okay, I can understand one combo,
Yeah.
but then he pulls out the second one, you're just like, oh my god, this guy, like, and then it just like surprises everyone. It makes sense too, because like you want to be able to pressure, especially the Miracle Rogues and stuff, you want to be able to win turn 9, and Ram Druids are usually too slow, but like, that in a sense is like summarizes like every player's frustration climbing High Legend, because it's just like you lose to just the most random stuff that you don't expect anymore.
Alright, so here is the handlock deck. Actually, I made a mistake here. This is not the handlock deck we were supposed to be showing. Obviously, there's going to be 2 Molten Giants in here. Obviously. And let's see what the mistake here is.
Maybe Molten Giant is overrated and you only need 1.
Yeah. No. Let's see.
I'm trying to think what he cut. What did he cut for it? I guess he put in Black Knight? No, but he also cut like his Alex and Draxus as well. Oh,
Alright,
he's playing...
he plays 1 Moral Coil. So that's it.
Oh, okay.
It's the same list, but minus Moral Coil plus Giants. That's the list we're supposed to be analyzing right now.
Okay. Alright.
Right, so, what do you think about this combo that has been risen in ranks lately? Like, previously, people didn't play Leroy in Handlock. Now they play Leroy Faceless plus Power Overwhelming, which is 20 damage. It's like a Force of Nature combo, but better.
It's been around for a long time, actually, since maybe like January. People kind of experimented.
Yeah.
They didn't necessarily put 2 and 2 together with the Faceless, but they originally put Leroy with like good synergy with Shadow Flame and Power Overwhelming at the time.
Yeah.
So that way you could always clear. You know, it's really strong, but I don't think it's too broken. Like, I know a lot of people complain, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I always...
Colento did a
Never
deck
felt like it
specifically for doing that with Blue Jewels, Arcane Golems, just so you have more stuff to use Power Overwhelming Faceless on. And
Yeah.
but I haven't tested that. It looked fun though. I'm also thinking that Jiraxis and Alexstrasza might be too slow right now, so I'm liking this deck right here.
Okay.
I guess it's a bit more ladder oriented.
Yeah. I've seen actually on Hearthstone, one of the top rated decks. I don't know like how they rate the decks. It's just like users upvoting, I guess. But one of the top decks, when I checked a few days ago, it was a handlock deck, but it was with Sense Demons, actually, to fetch Jiraxis.
What?
And it also
To get
had
Jiraxis?
Void and it's, I mean, the guy said he was legend and it worked great. I mean...
Yeah, it gives you something to do on turn 3 if
Yeah,
you tapped on
yeah.
a coin or something. I don't know, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess that could work in a tournament as well for a surprise factor. I mean, you can always get worthless imps, so that's something.
Yeah, worthless teams and sacrificial pacts makes you tap even more.
No sacrificial fact. Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
So Gaara, what do you think about this handlock deck?
Well, it pretty much shows how the ladder is working. I mean, there's pretty much no deck that can be successful in ladder right now without without a one-shot combo. Like literally every deck has this. Like even the handlock can one-shot you now with the Leroy Power Overwhelming Faceless. The Shaman has the Rockbiter with the Doom Hammer. The Druid has the Force of Nature. Every single deck. And honestly, I really hate it because it's so random. You can't play around. Like, I made, by the way, the deck together with Colento you were mentioning, Daniel. it is also a one-shot combo deck. You just tap, heal yourself till you draw your Arcane Golem with Powerwhelming Fearless into Soulfires. It's just stupid. Like earlier today, I played against a rogue that did 40 damage in one turn, and I mean every single deck can do 30 damage in one turn. I don't know what to think about it. It's just how the meta is right now. So yeah, it looks like a pretty good standard handlock deck. Questionable is if you should really play the Black Knight. Like if you really need it, it's preferable, I guess. Like there could also be like a Sylvanas in it, or if you face a lot of handlocks, another BGH instead of the Black Knight. Or if you want to have more taunts, you can play one Senjin, for example. Yeah. It's a standard good handlock deck.
Right. What do you think about adding another faceless manipulator?
Yeah, Rainer thinks it's an absolute must. Like I like to play two faceless in any deck that has big minions, because yeah, then you have two big minions for 5 mana. It's pretty good. And I think it's also, I like, instead of playing a Ragnaros, if someone else plays a Ragnaros, I prefer to play a faceless plus BGH combo. I think it's much stronger. You know, I really like two faceless in a handlock deck. Question is always like what you cut for it, you know. If you play the Leroy combo, you already cut cards because you have to play the Powerwhelming and the Leroy. So if you play two faceless, in this deck you only could cut the Black Knight. There's basically nothing else. You need one BGH, especially for the control warriors or mirror matches. You can't win a mirror match because every handlock has one BGH. You could cut one Earthen Farseer, but then you will have problems against aggro decks. So yeah, you could only cut the Black Knight.
I would consider cutting an Owl, probably.
But then you're also pretty weak in mirror matches because there's too many handlocks playing. Like I've seen people playing one Owl, but it's the same. If you cut Mortal Coils, you really need Mortal Coil. It's like it looks so weak, but it's really, really a must-have. Especially with the synergy, you draw a card and you kill something. It's kind of important.
Yeah, I agree. Well, should we move on to the Shaman deck maybe?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Alright, so unfortunately this deck is low res because Daniel's resolution is low, and he was the one who sent the screenshot.
I don't think so. Maybe.
No, the screenshot you sent me was really low res, but this is what we were gonna work with. Let me just actually this is what? I'm at the wrong.
Okay, I can see it on the screen.
Alright, wait.
On the stream.
Alright, like that. Now we can see the numbers as well.
Yeah, I see it. There we go.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the Kolento Shaman deck. It's not running a Doomhammer, and it's not running the Wind Fury 2 mana cost card either. It's running Alakir.
Well, actually, what jumps out to me the most is the fact that he doesn't use Unbounds, and I think it's because Kolento says that, like, Unbounds are so, like, people just prioritize it so much, and you like work really hard to build it up. Or if you get like sapped, for example, it just feels like so, like, weak in a sense, and you can't, and you overload yourself to try to build it up, and you kind of like reverse engineer your own tempo. So, I mean, Harvest Golem kind of accomplishes the same thing, and it even synergizes pretty well with Defender of Argus, like, especially giving like, a really good body. So I think it's an interesting stylistic choice.
I agree. The Unbound Elemental, I know when I play a lot of Shaman, and every time I coin it, like when I get to turn 2 with the coin, I'm like, do I really want to coin this? Because every deck pretty much has removal for it on turn 3. Or turn 4.
You want to coin it out though. It's like too good not to coin out.
But if they have a guy out, and like it's just too risky, I think sometimes. Gaara, what do you think?
Well, the thing is, the meta shifts like every 6 hours or something, and I can explain like why there's no Doomhammer in this deck, because like I think a day ago, like everyone played Harrison Jones in his deck, so he probably experienced one Harrison Jones against his Doomhammer, and then he instantly removed it. Yeah, but today, like earlier today when you queued, there's not a single Miracle Rogue playing, or like there's nobody playing Harrison Jones anymore because everyone removes his weapons. So he would maybe adjust this deck and put a Doomhammer back in, could be. He would probably not even play the Ooze because there's no one with weapons playing anymore. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, the meta shifts really, like, not in days, but in hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I
But
guess that's a
besides
good thing.
that, I like this deck, yeah. Especially because he plays 2 Lightning Storms. There's like many people just playing 1 Lightning Storms, but there's still, I mean, Zeus are coming back like cancer every time. Like first they disappear a little bit, and then they're like, ah yeah, okay, let's come back, and now the letter is full of Zeus again. So, yeah, 2 Lightning Storms is a must-have, especially in the mirror matches. Like you will, if you play only 1 Lightning Storm, you will lose every mirror match against the Shaman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I'm just gonna throw this out there. What do you think about Lava Burst?
Actually, some people were recommending me today to play 1 Lava Burst. I think right now, in this current meta, from maybe it will change like a couple hours. I think Lava Burst right now is a good card because you kill the Lores and the Yetis and all those cards that are played. It's like the thing about Shaman is you always needed a third heart removal because you don't always draw your 2 hexes. Like it's really frustrating. Like one game today I play, I get my double Earthshock, double hex against the Giants, and the next game I don't draw anything, and then you're like really frustrated. You face 2 Drakes, you have absolutely no answer. So you want to have the third answer. You had the Think Master, and there's nothing that really replaces a Think Master. So the next best thing would be a Lava Burst, like because you will have the Spell Power Totem, the 6 damage, and then you can sacrifice like a weaker minions. Yeah, minion to I think 1 Lava Burst is good. The question is always like, what do you remove? Like, what do you remove? I think, it's like how many
from this deck, I'd remove the Swampus, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the only maybe not as important card.
Yeah, I agree. In this deck, I would remove the Ooze as well. Yeah.
I also like Lava Burst because you can kill handlocks with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think about Alakir, like versus the card Wind Fury? Because the card Wind Fury was actually played a lot by Strifecrow and myself and Spo and a lot of other guys back in season 3 or 4 maybe.
The thing about Wind Fury is it's a dead card like Bloodlust in your hand. Like when you're behind on the board, it does literally nothing. It's the same with Mana Tide. Mana Tide is in theory an awesome card against control decks because they have to use a spell to remove it, so you already have instantly +1 card advantage. But it is terrible if you're behind, because if the opponent is board control, it just kills it for free. You cannot play. It's the same with Bloodlust, the same with Wind Fury. And if you have all those cards in your hand, you're just like predestined to lose the game.
Yeah.
But the thing about I really like Alakir right now is I think you need 2 finishers in a Shaman deck, and I think Alakir is right now the strongest. It's like a minion and a Taunta. It's also really good against Miracle Rogues.
Alright.
I really like Alakir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd change between Alakir and the Doomhammer. Like depending on what kinds of decks you face.
Yeah,
I guess
exactly.
I guess Doomhammer might be better against Miracle Rogue since they don't have any taunt, and Doomhammer does more damage overall. Alakir just might get sap. I don't know. It's
also faster.
Yeah, it's faster. You can use Doomhammer with Roguebiter on turn 6 and deal 10 damage.
Alright, well, let's move on to the next deck, shall we? This is actually a deck I suggested we put on this show. I've been getting comments back and forth from it, but this is a deck I saw on Reddit, and apparently Trump played this to Legend with a free-to-play warrior. It's basically a weapon deck with 2 brawls, obviously not free-to-play, but 2 brawls instead of...
I thought Trump played Zoo to Legend.
No.
I guess Trump played everything to
yeah, I
Legend.
guess, like, the Redditor said Trump played this deck.
Yeah, I probably played a few
Yeah.
games, but every time I tuned in, he was usually playing Zoo.
Alright. So anyway, this is the weapon deck. I played this a few hours. I was actually surprised of how much you could stomp on your opponents, like especially handlocks and miracle rogues. This deck does tremendously well against them, over 70% against both. Can you see the deck yet? Or
Yeah, I can
Alright.
see it.
Yeah.
Right, go, opinions.
It's the same thing as previous warriors that use the really aggressive archetypes. Like you just die to, or you just get, if you get stopped by taunts, or you just get outvalued. Especially like if Shaman can get really good value early on and play like Feral Wolves and then never look back from there, you just lose. And like it's basically brawl or bust. And every time I play, I've never actually lost this deck. I've faced it like 5 or 6 times over the past couple days, but I've never lost to it. And I've been playing Shaman almost exclusively on ladders, so I just never feel threatened. Like, especially the most frustrating thing is if you roll like a Stoneclaw totem and he has like an Arcanite Reaper up, and it's just like you laugh at his face. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the deck either just completely poops on people, or it just feels like it doesn't do anything ever.
Yeah, I agree. Well,
But it's
Gaara-
fun. It's a fun deck.
Gaara, what do you think about this deck?
It's interesting to say the least. No, I think the biggest problem about the aggro warrior is that you don't have card draw.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like the biggest problem, and you play really inefficient cards like Lepanome, and if someone manages to stop it, then you will just automatically lose because you will run out of cards. And I think it's probably really difficult to get high ranked because of the hand locks, for example, or ramp druids. Like ramp druids also become really popular now, and they have like those big taunters. And the thing about double brawl is like the very first warrior deck I ever made had double brawl. I was like, this card is fucking sick. Why is not everyone playing double brawl? I thought they were stupid. The thing is, like when you have 2 brawls in your hand, I mean, it's like double bloodlust or whatever. I mean, it's cool story, bro. You know, it does like literally nothing. And yeah, sometimes it's amazingly good. Yeah, you play against the shaman, you do a brawl, and then he overextends the board because you used your brawl, and then you use another brawl, and then he's like owned. But that happens. It's not consistent, you know. Sometimes it's awesome. Yeah.
I agree.
It's cool for the YouTube videos. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually tested Miracle Warrior yesterday. I'm not gonna spoil anything. Maybe it has a chance of becoming competitive, but it sounds really sick. Like
The one with the Vorgir
Yeah.
and the Rampage, okay.
But when was this warrior deck played?
This warrior deck,
Yeah.
just a few days ago.
Few days ago, okay. Miracle Rook was really popular deck, and this deck destroys Miracle.
Yeah,
I guess
that's a
that's
good
why-
point. Yeah.
Yeah, and probably that's also the reason why he claimed to Legendary, or who I don't know who played that deck, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically, viewers, if you're against a lot of Miracle Rogues today or tomorrow, go this deck. Alright.
I don't know. I feel like I'd rather play like Aggro Pally or something, because that actually just completely destroys Miracle Rogue. Like Miracle Rogue can't answer Divine Shields efficiently unless they draw like, you know, their shivs and Venom Knight and stuff. Like, it's just gross. And then you also obviously have Divine Favors.
I heard from Ostkaka. He was one of the first 5 legends this season, I think. He played Paladin aggro to rank 3 or something. Then he said, it's just way too many rogues and druids here. Or, I don't know if it was druids. Just stuff that aggro hunter beats. So he played aggro hunter to be one of the first legends of this season.
Yeah. Aggro Hunter's making a comeback too. Like Chalky doesn't play. Like he plays Aggro Hunter like a lot, and he got legend with it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even run Unleash the Hounds combo anymore,
Really?
or even Starving Buzzard. He just puts in a bunch of other massive damage and just use Miracle Rogue and stuff, and Shamans too.
Okay.
Because everyone still assumes that you have Unleash the Hounds, so they still try to play around it on turn 5.
Okay, that's true. Yeah. All right. Should we move on? It's actually already 10 to 9. I don't know how you feel about going overtime. But let's see here. Here's a question: how do you deck test these decks with what you build? How do you like you said, Gaara, you don't want to play them in ladder, right? So
Well, I can try, but I will get owned most likely.
Obviously. So where do you go if you don't have time to play a tournament before the big step where you're gonna play the deck?
Then
And
I have
if only he had like teammates to try things out with, right?
and I have to pray to RNGesus that my decks in Fury will work out. But I really try to play like before I go into a bigger tournament, I really try to play my decks I want to play in a bigger tournament, in smaller tournaments. It's basically the same. Like, you play against the same people all the time. So if it will work out in a smaller tournament, it will most likely also work out in a bigger tournament.
Alright.
It's like in poker, it's the same. Like, when you play a small tournament in poker, let's say a $10 buy-in tournament, you have to play the same as in a $1,000 buy-in tournament. I mean, you still have to play your A game, and that's the same with Hearthstone, in my opinion. You know, and yeah, but if you for some reason can't play any tournament, you have your teammates with But as Daniel said earlier, the problem is they know your decks, and they know around which cards to play around with. It's really hard to actually get really good practice.
So talking about tournaments, let's move on to the next topic. We've had so far one important open bracket tournament, that is Dreamhack Bucharest, that was won by you, Gaara, and one more will be next month at Dreamhack Summer. I guess yesterday we've got the announcement for BlizzCon qualifiers as well. So let's talk a bit about that. What do you think the best format is, in your opinion? I'm definitely sure it's not the Bucharest one, even though you won it. Single elimination, best of 3.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just asking about the format, about the games. Do you think Swiss, double elimination, single elimination, maybe best of 5? Group stage?
I think it depends most of the time on the time you have available. I mean, when there's like, I don't know, 300, 400 or 1,000 people to participating in a tournament, there's no way you can make round 1 best of 5, for example. It would take days for the tournament to finish. I mean, even in Bucharest it was best of 3, and I mean, the first day we played, how many hours did we play? Like 12 hours or something?
Yeah, it was too long.
I think it just, it's the logistics, like how much time you have available. Like if you have a week available, you can make best of 7, I don't care. But, or like if you have pre-qualifier tournaments and stuff like that, like if it's a huge event ongoing. But I think best of 3 is fine with single eliminations. Like I mean, it's okay, right? Like you have your decks. You have to prepare your decks before the tournament. I don't know. Like I like it. I know that many people complain, but I personally like it. The problem with the Swiss, like in the China versus EU tournament, they didn't have enough rounds. They were like, I dropped out with 5-2 stats. I was like rank 17 or something, and other people were like rank 16 with the same stats because they had higher seeding. And the reason why I had low seeding was because the guy I played against, he stopped playing the tournament. So he had like a horrible, what was it called?
Tiebreaker score?
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Like, how can I influence that? It's like completely out of my reach. And if you do more rounds, like 8 rounds or 9 rounds, I think it will just take too long. Like, I don't know if people are considering that, like in their opinions. So, yeah, if you hate, you have to bring a good solution for the problem. Like you have to
Yeah.
say which kind of format would be.
I guess
like,
that's the biggest difference between Hearthstone and Magic, because Magic doesn't require that many logistics. Like you only need your pack of cards and a table, and you move from place to place. That's smaller. Maybe Swiss will become a better option when people get used to playing on iPads, because I guess they can make like 8-round Swiss or something like that played on iPads. It's probably gonna take shorter than the first day of DreamHack Bucharest. Everything is organized correctly.
Yeah. It also depends on the number of players. I think
Yeah.
you're gonna have to have 9 rounds if you have over 256 people, if I'm not mistaken, because of the scoring.
What do you think, Frodan? Like, what's in your opinion like the best format?
Well, you know, I really like Swiss. The answer to Gaara's thing is to not lose. So you don't have to be in the tiebreaker situation, right? But you know, in all seriousness, I think Swiss is really cool. It's not really practical because you need a lot of active stations, and that's where I think iPad and mobile really come into play, like you guys said. The one thing I did like about DreamHacks, and I think Gaara's the one who told me this actually, is that one thing that was nice about having seeded players and just a straight up bracket is that at least you avoid the complete randomness of brackets where, like, very often in other tournaments, you have team kills in individual games like StarCraft. Like, you just have 2 teammates and they train really hard and they fly all the way from America and then they just match up first round against each other. And, you know, that's just pretty cool. I personally like a group stage of some kind because I think group stage gives multiple chances to demonstrate skill while not being too ludicrous. And so I like, you know, exploring the concept of group stage. I don't know about round robins though, because then you have some weird deck wars finals thing where like apparently they counted the previous round record on top of the round 2, and then that gets kind of complicated. But I am in favor of just more games because Hearthstone is not like anybody can win in a good game. Like if you're favored as a good player compared to an average player, you still have a chance to lose, and I think DreamHack proved that. So
Yeah.
I want group stages that just give players the chance to lose and still come back. That's pretty much all I want.
Well, talking about this, the DreamHack Summer format is they're gonna have 12 people invited, Gaara being one of them, as I know, and then they'll have 4 more that will qualify on spot from 256 players. So how do you feel about that?
It's 3 days, so hopefully they do it right. Most likely what they'll do, I mean, this is pretty much a copy paste from what they do for like the StarCraft. In a sense, what they do is they have like 4 groups pre-made, and they have 12 players, and they put 3 in each, and then they have like a big open bracket where the winners of each bracket basically go and get a spot, like the last 4th spot in every group. And it's kind of worked out traditionally well in the past. I kind of understand people's pain that, you know, they go all the way to Sweden and they have this open bracket and only 4 get through. And I kind of like look over the list of people who are interested, and there's definitely more than 16 players that I would like to see compete in the bracket. So there's going to be some really big, heartbreaking losses. And like I feel bad for the like say if, you know, I don't know who's let's say like Kit Kats or something goes to DreamHack. I'll be really sad if he loses in the first round, but it's also just as bad as losing the second to last round because you fight through an entire 200 bracket and you don't even get to compete on the main stage. So like, it sucks on both ends. And I mean, it's kind of like they took DreamHack Bucharest and just added a group stage tournament after the entire thing, essentially.
Well, it's the 256 player will face in a double elimination bracket, so they have another chance.
That's better.
But, yeah. I get, but that also means if you lose in the first round, you have to win the other 10 games in a row. It's something ridiculous.
So, speaking of which, do you know, like, this is not on paper, do you guys know if you have to bring an iPad? Or do they have?
No. The first part of the tournament, the 256 tournament, will be played on whatever you can, like laptop, PC. That's why you have to buy a ticket and bring your own computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
The group stage will be
gonna be
played
fun.
on iPad.
Yeah.
Garrett,
I hope
do you
I
have
hope
an
they
iPad?
seed people
sorry.
really well though in DreamHack. Like, I mean, Gaara doesn't have to worry, but you know, like it's still gonna be just a clusterfuck. There's gonna be so many pros whining when they don't get seeded, man. I can't wait. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be hilarious.
I mean, this will be really crazy. I mean, literally every pro will go or be there or plans to go. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen such a tournament before, like, where really, literally every good player will participate. So, I mean, and you have only 12 seeded players. There will be many good players who are not seeded.
Yeah. I mean, like Tempo Storm's going, so that's 3 players. Then you have, you know, like Curse is sending their team, so that's 7 players. And then you have, you know, like streamers like Amaz, Masan plans on going, Ekhop, Nimsh, like Lothar, Shocky, you know, like everybody's going, and it's like you already hit like 20 players, and you're like, oh my god, there's only 16 slots, and it gets like crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really wonder
Have a lot of free time.
look at like tournament results or ladder results, or because everyone has really crazy records. I really wonder like what they will look at. It will be really close, I think. Really close. Who will be seeded in the end, I think.
I just hope they seed me as the rookie seed person.
Daniel, you're going, right, to DreamHack?
I'm waiting on the 12 person list before booking a flight and a ticket. So, because maybe the team I just joined, Next Please, will help me get there if I'm in the top 12. If not, I'll probably have to use the money I won. But from my calculation, I guess that's around 500, 600 euros. So at least for a vacation, that would be nice.
Yeah. Alright, let's see here. Well, do you think any other events could be like just as big as DreamHack, where you actually go to the place and play?
Yeah, IAM, like ESL is really interested in picking up Hearthstone. Like you see it, they're doing online King of the Hills and stuff. And that's how ESL always tests it. They're really smart about it. They always put online cups to just kind of generate interest. And then if that ends up becoming big, then they'll usually like put out, you know, maybe like an ESL Pro Series, like an EPS of some kind, like an online league, and then they kind of build it up. But even before that, they even tested it out at a live event with Blizzard. Like Blizzard basically asked IAM to try out the Hearthstone stuff because they had an Intel booth and Intel was promoting their technology chip in the iPad. So I think IEM just kind of said, well, you know, why don't we host a small little 4-man invitational? And then it ended up getting like, what, 45,000 viewers. So they're like, okay, wow, we absolutely should host something on the circuit. So Europe is going to get more events and going to continue to fuck Americans in the ass. So, what's going to happen the rest of the year? Like, poor North America, they don't get events like ever. The closest is going to be IEM Comic-Con in New York, but I mean...
But they have
like,
BlizzCon.
Yeah, but Blizzard pays for flights, though.
Well,
Gaara, what do you think about BlizzCon?
Speaking of BlizzCon, yeah. I mean, I wish I had that to World of Warcraft times. I mean, that's like the biggest prize pool ever, like Blizzard had for any game, I think. I don't know how the StarCraft 2 prize pools were also like decent. But for Hearthstone, I mean, World of Warcraft was nothing close to that. I mean, that's insane. 100k for first place. That's insane. I think more people, I mean, even new people will start and grind their level, grind to the top level and start to compete because it's just a huge prize pool. You can see it with the Dota prize pool. It just attracts so many new people because they want to be rich.
Yeah.
Speaking of new people, there have been a lot of Magic players actually transferring to Hearthstone. Do you think we'll see more of
Oh,
this?
really?
Yeah,
I guess
like,
we'll see.
Not like
Oh.
the current pro MTG players, but more like the ones that have been pro or semi-pro.
I
I
guess
mean, there's
we'll see.
a lot of many pro Magic the Gathering players. I mean, Savish also played Magic the Gathering, or Reynard, like Nimsh, they all played Magic the Gathering. So I wouldn't be surprised if like more transition, if they see like how much the game is growing, and yeah, like why not?
And this is the first year. I imagine the next one will be even bigger, and so on and so on.
I don't know about that. Like Blizzard to answer your question, this is the same prize pool for StarCraft 2 for BlizzCon, but Blizzard has invested more money over the year because they put on regional tournaments. So they invested like a couple $1 million over the year. But for BlizzCon, it's also $250,000. And it's been that way for like 2-3 years now, or it hasn't really changed much. So, but even so, like it's still Blizzard basically saying, this is legitimate to us. So, it's still a good sign.
Yeah.
Very good sign. I'm actually going to say something that I don't know. There's not too many people watching, so I don't think it's that big a deal.
Right.
But I find it really funny because I kind of asked about the Korean, like the Asian seeds. The Asian seeds are the most mysterious because Asia in general and every single esports scene has always had like their own thing going on, whether it's League of Legends or Dota or anything. Like they've always had this weird, like they do their own stuff and they'll have seeds that come in, but it's always been EU and NA kind of lumped together. And for Asia, for BlizzCon and Hearthstone, it's like when they announced it, 2 seeds from OGN and 2 from like Taiwan and China or something. But apparently like OGN didn't know that and they were like, we don't even plan to send players whatsoever. And like poor Savich got really excited because he's like, he already qualified because he just won the first OGN Invitational, right? Yeah. So he thought he was going to get easy $5K dollars, but it turns out like Korea apparently isn't sending anybody. So the format details haven't been 100% ironed out, and I don't even know like if Asia will be sending that many people. But I don't know because like Asia's so behind in the meta game. They're so weird with their decks.
At least
I'm just rambling. I don't even know what I'm trying to talk about, but I'm just giving you guys some interesting.
At least the European qualifiers would be sick, because I think only 4 people from Europe will go to BlizzCon. So
only 4
if BlizzCon,
people?
Yeah, if BlizzCon is easy, at least the European qualifiers would be the best tournament.
Well, I guess after the humiliation on Europe versus China, I don't think China is going to be as interesting as the European one.
Yeah. Well, speaking of BlizzCon, it may or may not be true, but I've read the rules, and like the first paragraph says, this tournament it's eligible to people that have residence, or they have residence in the following countries, and there's like a big list where Romania isn't. So I have to see about that. Also, Portugal and Greece are not there, so there are a lot of good players that might not be able to participate in the following qualifiers. I just hope it's not the case, since it influences me and RDU from my team.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, who do you guys think will be the most successful player
in the future?
In the future, like now.
Are you like judging based off like money at the end of everything?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
let's just
right
say
now
tournament
we have
money.
A lot of people, and well, which one is going to actually be the one to keep going and be the top player all the time, basically?
If Trump never turns off sub mode, it's Trump financially.
Let's just stick to tournament winnings. I guess.
No, that's a mean joke. I love Trump, and good for him. I don't know. It's too hard to say. Like Hearthstone, like it's just too crazy. Like Savish goes so deep in tournaments, or he loses the first round. This is his MO, and I'm trying to talk to him and get him kind of like into the right mindsets and stuff. But any player can lose on a given day. Like I think longevity in this game is really around what we kind of mentioned at the beginning of the show, which is deck building and being able to recognize strategy. Blizzard will continue to release content for Hearthstone for quite some time. And I'm actually really sad because I thought Naxxramas would be able to come before Dreamhack. I even talked to some of the Blizzard guys and they assumed it was, but you know, the dates are never truly set for Blizzard. So it would have been really cool to see like how Naxxramas cards affected the meta. You know, obviously people would have been including it. And I think deck building and like players who are really able to understand the core mechanics of the game rather than just net decking and trying to make optimal plays. Like those people will kind of go in and out. But the good deck builders, like I think Gaara's going to stick around for a while, even though he's like right there on the show. I don't mind admitting it.
Right.
Anyway,
Gaara's like, I agree.
who do you think will win? Dreamhack Summer. Who will win?
RDU.
If you're gonna decide, is it gonna be one of the top players or a random Swede?
No, I don't think it.
Oh, you don't think what?
I don't think random Swedes will be as random as Romanians were at Bucharest, since there are only 4 people qualified from the open bracket. So if it's a Swede, it's not random at all. It's gonna be one of the good Swedes. You go, Frodan.
So Dreamhack has this weird history of getting the perfect storylines of like tournament finishes. So let me try to think here. Like, what's the most juicy drama? The finals is going to be Reynad versus Chalky on the main stage, and Chalky is going to be playing Aggro Hunter, and Reynad's going to be on his last life, and he somehow finds lethal once again. The fucking stage will implode, and salt. It's not going to be confetti. Salt is going to shake from the ceilings, and people are going to fucking take their hands out of their pants because they're finally done jerking off to Reynad's amazing dance. And I am going to just weep tears. I'm going to go up, me, Gaara, and Tides, because apparently no one else will talk to Reynad at events. We're going to go up there and put him on our shoulders and fucking suck his dick right there. He's going to orgasm out to 2,000 people watching. That's going to be how Dreamhack finishes.
Alright, that was a pretty good description. I'm inclined to agree. I want to agree, at least. I want to see this. I would watch that movie. I would.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Let's discuss a bit about the team format in Hearthstone. Because even though it's an individual sport and the biggest tournaments have been one-on-one competitions, ESGN was one of the first organizations to actually have a team Hearthstone event. And we have to give credit for that to you, Frodan. Did you actually think in the beginning that Finet will be so popular?
I mean, yes and no. Like, I thought Hearthstone would be really successful just because no one really did anything for it. At least, I mean, people were trying to, but no one actually tried to produce something quality besides just the actual games. My vision from it from the very beginning was to build teams, because if there's anything I've learned about individual games is that when the individual gets built up and they leave, then a lot of fans also leave. And some of them end up liking other players, but it's a big blow. But if people kind of get behind the franchise and the team, then there's a lot of longevity to fandom, and people kind of like brands, and it doesn't matter really. Like, after teams like Curse or Tempo Storm or Mana Grind or Liquid Value build it up, and there's enough fans, it doesn't matter kind of who gets picked up, because they just kind of plug directly into the culture and people like them.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to build teams from the very beginning with Fight Night, and there were really no teams. Like, no one was a team really. And we kind of invited people, and they just kind of impromptu made a team on the spot. And that's how Fight Night kind of got started. It was a really fun time now that I think about it, because everything was just so, like, organic and last second. They're like, okay, well, Crypt doesn't want to play, so let's just get like Strife Crow, and they're like, okay, and then like they kind of created a team right on the spot. It was really funny how everything came together.
Yeah, I remember the episode team name no name yet or whatever.
Yeah, actually, if you want a fun fact, the first team that was supposed to come play Doggy House was set. It was Artosis, Nyx, Nimch, and Ekka, and they were supposed to play Trump, Crip, Sixa, and who was the fourth player? Like it was Hafu. Like this was the team that they were supposed to play, and then Hafu declined and Sixa declined. So then Monk messaged me, and Monk's like, "Hey, I've been helping Trump do a lot of constructed. Like maybe I should come. Plus, you know, it's Trump's first time in Germany, so maybe it's good to have a friends go." So I invited Monk, and then Monk invited Strife Crow, and then they kind of made this impromptu team. So that's actually how it came together.
All right, that's cool. What team do you think is the strongest team right now?
Well, Temple Storm has been winning everything.
Yeah.
I didn't want to answer that question. I think it's like inappropriate. Because I get Hearthstone.
Well,
yeah, our team is the best, you know. I mean, it's easy.
Well, you don't have to say you're the best. You can just say, Reynard's team is the best.
Yeah.
Isn't that every team or something like that?
Yeah, I created every team and every player in Hearthstone. I guess.
Yeah, apparently Team Reynad disbanded yesterday, but he's about to announce a new team tomorrow. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, are there any new teams that aren't popular that you think are gonna be good in the future? I'm asking both of you.
I think MYM is actually a very good team. They have a lot of solid players, and just generally speaking, like there's a lot of smaller teams that have good players, and they just kind of need to find their footing in the scene. VVV is good. Planet Key Dynamics has a couple of good players as well. And even like London Conspiracy, they have really good players too. Like Life Coach is a good player, and they have like Dart and Firebat and some of the other players. So there's like teams that are trying to get their footing, but it's still growing. So it's like impossible to say who's the best in terms of like head to head. But you know, just I think Curse and Tempo Storm are the two best teams by far right now.
All right. Well, all right, here's a question here. It might be hard to answer. I don't know. Do you think teams are going to be like the thing in Hearthstone, or do you see a future where single players get sponsored, like Trump gets sponsored by Razer for a while ago?
Yeah, but I mean that was at the very beginning, and that was before Hearthstone kind of blew up. So it wasn't like the biggest of deals. Like what I found was so funny with that deal is that Trump finished like second or something or third in the Razer Team of the Year for Hearthstone, and he's like the only player. Like he finished higher than CLG, I think, which is like the most popular Razer sponsored League of Legends team. I think next to Evo Geniuses. So I was like super surprised by that.
Yeah.
Well, I think being in a team is far better than being on your own. Like you need someone to practice with, so I don't think it's gonna be a thing in the future. Everybody will be in a team sooner or later.
Yeah. All right. What's your thought about Naxxramas? Like we haven't seen a lot of cards yet, but just in general, like the Death Rattle team. What do you think?
Well, I think it's a really good thing that they implement new cards because it gets boring, you know, like you have only so many options with the current existing cards, and we've seen pretty much everything already with the current cards, and I think it's also gets boring to cast like the same shit over and over again. So I think everyone will enjoy to see new decks, new strategies, new gameplay. Yeah. It's good.
I agree. Like in Magic the Gathering, there's a new set every 3 months, maybe, and there's a special set each summer. And I enjoy it. I go to every pre-release in Magic the Gathering still. And I would like to have content more often in Hearthstone later on. Like every half year at least.
Well, I think that will be the case. I think this first expansion is just a test to see if this will work. But it might or not might be true. Maybe Frodan knows this more than I do. But I think they're also working on a Death Knight class for the future.
I haven't actually heard anything about that. Blizzard people are pretty good about making you feel excluded. Like they're very big on like, I know something and you don't, and they like to keep that. It's part of like the Blizzard culture. Like they really like keeping their secrets and NDA and stuff, but they're also super strict. Like if things leak, like heads roll at that company. So it's pretty new. Like I don't know if they're actually doing it, but it's probably a safe assumption that they're working on another class. In fact, Hearthstone was supposed to be releasing with 10 classes, right? And they kind of combined Shaman with something, and then they end up having 9 on.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm also thinking, since the cards got announced, that maybe mass silence would be a thing, because that prevents all the trail from happening.
Oh yeah, the mass dispel, maybe?
It's a bad card, but I'm hoping I'll get some value out of it when the expansion releases.
Yeah. I could see that happening, kind of.
And also what Frodan said before, I talked to him when he was in Bucharest. We were really excited about the expansion being released before Dreamhack, so it would be like a huge difference between casual players and the pro ones that adapted faster. But I guess it's for the better of entertainings that is not. I'll just hope it will be another big tournament after the expansion.
Well, at this rate, we're not even gonna see the cards until BlizzCon. They're gonna have to pump out cards a lot faster. Like, obviously, they have more cards in their bank, they just haven't spoiled yet. But, like, the minute they spoil it, they can't really change it anymore, so I guess it's the balancing issues as well.
No, you'd be surprised. Don't doubt Blizzard.
Yeah.
It's true. Like they've announced stuff in betas for games like Diablo and StarCraft, and it got completely nixed or they changed it. So don't be too surprised if that happens.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any opinions of the future of Hearthstone in general? Do you think it will last more than 3 years? It was just a number that came out of my head, but I heard a lot of people saying that Hearthstone is not gonna last. What do you think?
I mean, nothing lasts forever. I mean, I'll talk about this because the other guys were being kind of quiet on it. You know, like Hearthstone doesn't have to last for 3 years. I mean, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But that shouldn't be the goal. Like, I think, you know, the fans and the players, they share something like really unique where they can kind of access each other's play. Like when you see high-level play, it kind of makes fans really alienated in a sense, but they also admire it, but they can't actually reach that level. And if a game is so competitive, a lot of players kind of give up. But part of what makes Hearthstone so nice is that everyone feels like they can be the guy in the seat and play it better, and that gives it like a lot of like longevity over time, because if tournaments and organizers can kind of continue to put the viewers in the seats of the players, the game can last for a very, very long time. Because poker and all these other things haven't changed. And I'm not comparing Hearthstone to poker in mechanics. I'm just talking about, you know, the watchability factor. You can always just kind of sit there and kind of imagine yourself, oh, I play the hand this way, or I do something else. And if more people get exposed to the game, eventually people will just like to adapt themselves and sit and try to figure out how they can play it from that perspective. So as long as Blizzard keeps the game interesting, I don't see it going away for a long time. But that's also not the concern. Like I think the concern right now, at least on my end, as like a commentator, as well as like a person that tries to put on leagues and fight nights and show matches and stuff,
Yeah.
I think it's important to just present the game in a very acceptable and easy to digest way.
All right. I think we're out of topics on paper. So if you have anything you want to talk about,
I can add something to this questions to this question as well. I think Blizzard should, in my opinion, go with what Valve did with their games. Like, it's hard to just invest in a game with only your money and the money you get from buying packs in this case. But if they actually support more cosmetic changes that can also be paid, they'll have even a bigger success. And I'm saying they can sell maps, card backs, whatever. Just have something that people can spend money on, except packs, because you can buy packs until one point, and then you have nothing to spend money on. This is my opinion.
I agree. Yeah. Gaara,
I guess
do you have any other topics?
Well, I have a couple thoughts, but
Alright, yeah, go.
I think it's like the big picture thing. It depends on where esports will go or be in like a couple years. But yeah, I think this what Daniel just said it's a good thing. Like maybe they, but I don't think like the people in Blizzard are stupid. I don't think they don't know how to make money. So they will have their reasons for the stuff they're doing, I guess. Even though I would disagree personally with many things, but yeah, I think Hearthstone will be around for a couple of years at least. I mean, World of Warcraft, like, it's boring for people who played it many years, but it's still there, you know. I mean, it's around for like 8 years now, and there's like still millions of people playing that game. So I guess Hearthstone will be around for a couple of years at least.
Yeah, and it's a different target of gamers as well. That is really nice. A lot of card game players like play Hearthstone, and they never really experienced this kind of magnitude of publicity as well as like gaming culture and whatnot. Just even talk to some of the pros, and they're like, I've never heard of like esports events before I even started playing Hearthstone. So it's just cool that it's expanding the market in a different demographic. I don't think it's going to be the premier thing where, like, you know, the stadium fills to watch two players find out which rag will hit the face or hit the minion. But I think instead it will be like this cool, unique thing that like people will always have like a way to relax and go to like a different, because some esports competitions are so intense and like competition and who's gonna win, like two teams enter, one comes out, and you know, sometimes you just need to kick back and relax, and that's what Hearthstone is, and I enjoy it so much, you know, for what it is.
Yeah, you pretty much summed that up pretty good.
Well, I guess we've run out of topics, and it's time for shoutouts. So, Gaara, do you want to say any special thanks to anybody or sponsors? I don't know.
Shout out to Scar. I don't know if he's watching. I always do a shout out to Scar. Yeah, to Team Tempostorm, of course. I don't know if any one of these guys are watching. Like, to my viewers, I don't know if any one of these guys are watching. And yeah, shout out to you for your first broadcast. And yeah, thanks for having me here as your first guest. I mean, should be honored. And yeah, shout out to all the other viewers.
Now I feel honored. Frodan.
A big shout out to, you know, and this is going to sound like they paid me to do something, which they haven't, but a big shout out to Tempostorm. They're launching their site soon, and they're going to have this tournament called Lord of the Arena on Sunday. You guys absolutely should watch. Kriparian and myself will be casting some arena games played by Trump, Masan, Hafu, Tides, as well as a few other people. So make sure to come tune into that.
Yeah.
And definitely check out their site because they're really trying to do something cool in the scene. And go support them as best as you can. Like teams are really going to keep this pro scene alive. Maybe not necessarily Hearthstone, but at least get people excited about streaming and stuff.
Yeah.
Also, thank you guys for having me on your first ever show. I am honored, and I hope you guys were able to deal with my rambliness. And the last thing is a big thank you to the ESGN guys. They're always really supportive of me going on talk shows and just talking about whatever the hell I want. And stay tuned because we're going to be announcing our next plans. A lot of people ask me what's coming after Fight Night, and we'll be able to talk about it next week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Until then, I'm done. Back over to Daniel.
I want to thank first of all you two guys for being here, and I had a great time this 1.5 hour talking to you. And also I want to thank Schismatron for being a great host, and also Airbrush who helped us with the layouts, the pictures, everything. He's a great guy overall. I hope he gets better because he was really, really sick. I'm gonna shout out to my team as well next, please. I think it has a lot of potential, and you'll see that in the future. So I'm gonna let you, Schismatron, end it.
Alright, I want to first of all give a shout out to the website we're making that's gonna sponsor this show, brainbenders.eu. It's right here. Right now the website is only a shell. It's not completed because our designer got ill, so that's unfortunate. But it will be up very, very soon. We will have a sort of a community. We will eventually host a cup. We will have some coaching sessions as well, and we will of course stream this show here. I want to shout out to Abrushed, to Spo, to Vampy, to Ustkaka, and to Daniel for having me and to entertain me while in Bucharest. I also want to shout out to Ekop. He knows why. And well, I guess that's it. I love you guys. Yours, Gaara, Frodan, and well, I guess the Gaara wants something to say with his sunglasses.
No, I'm.
Alright, well, thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. We don't know if we're gonna broadcast on Friday or Saturday. We haven't quite decided yet. I think Saturday is a better date. We'll decide. We will post on stream. We will post everywhere. So keep a lookout and follow. Thank you guys, and good day.